Listen up, Morty. It's your boy Rick Sanchez here, and I'm excited to introduce you to the latest episode of the Drift Sessions Clipping Point Podcast. This episode is going to be one for the books.
It's live call.
As we dive deep into the
Live
science
call.
of interdimensional drift and explore the limits of what is possible in the multiverse. So grab your portal gun and flask and make a seed juice. Let's get ready to push the clipping point to the absolute limit.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're getting sponsored by ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
All right, so Clipping Point, we're live, and we are at the NMRA event at OSW in Orlando, and we have two very special guests. First, Austin, the Sideways Sheriff, and your buddy Tim Wallace.
Yes, sir.
So I guess, and of course, we have Mr. Captain Ben steering the ship.
Ahoy.
Ahoy there, sir. So we had a great day of drifting so far, but first, I want you guys to introduce yourself. Austin, you go first.
Sure. So, Austin Bates, I drive the cop car. Sideways Sheriff, it's pretty easy to spot because it's a cop car. I guess I've been drifting for, God, I don't know, going on 5 years now?
That's not too long. That's
Yeah,
not,
I'm fairly new, so your turn.
All right, so.
The brief summary.
That's all we need. Drive the cop car.
Yeah, drive the cop car. Well, so.
But so does he.
See, he's deputy.
Oh! You-
Demoted?
Deputy drift.
All right,
Deputy
all right.
Tim.
All right, so Tim Wallace, own the best damn shop around, Gainesville,
Ooh.
Georgia. I typically pilot a C5 Corvette, but Austin here, gracious enough to let me borrow his old.
See, he got rid of his Ford, and then he couldn't do these
it was
events.
stolen. It was stolen.
Wait, what? Okay, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, so Mustang got stolen and bought a Corvette, and I can't do Mustang events anymore with a Corvette. I mean, no matter how hard I try to convince him it identifies as a Corvette, but or as a Mustang.
All right, way to keep the times.
So, yeah, I drive his new Edge with a pushrod 5-liter, and we just jam. Austin and I have made
All day.
We have made
All day.
hundreds of laps together.
It's
in
been
these
insane.
cars.
You guys have been going lap after lap
Yeah.
after lap.
The last 3 years at Holly Ford Fest and this and our local track, Lanier Raceplex. I mean, we just jam. We got a couple buddies. We call ourselves the Last Minute Motorsports guys.
Oh, okay.
And we're just kind of like a little local crew that make bad decisions and financial mistakes together.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
And
it
now,
is.
now, Tim, you were today. I don't know if this is normal for you guys, but for at least for me, this is my first time meeting you and finding out that your girlfriend, fiance, am I
Girlfriend.
Russian? Okay, I'm not Russian. I'm sorry.
Sensitive subject.
But I will tell you though. I mean, I don't know. It's pretty cool. You guys were tandeming, but
Yeah.
your girl Amber was out with you today
Oh,
driving.
yeah. Ripping.
She stole your car,
That's correct.
and then you stole Austin's car.
That's how it goes.
Pretty much.
And then
I
we
stole
all
a cop
drive
car.
together.
You stole the
how many
cop car.
people can say that?
Not many people, and drove it like you stole it.
Yeah.
And you chased
Exactly.
another cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, you can't even say that. So Austin and I, we actually met on the set of Getaway Driver. That was the series on the Discovery Channel.
Yep.
And it was me, you, and Joelle from Drift HQ.
So, yep.
And this was something that, I got a last-minute call. I know you got called on to be there, and it was just like, we had no idea what we're going into.
Mine was pretty last minute too, because I think I knew 2 weeks in advance because I needed to ask off work, and it was so close.
Okay.
So I was a last minute thing, and it was a maybe. I didn't even know if I was gonna be on the show.
Right.
Right. They asked me to come down and be like, just in case we need you.
As an extra.
And it was kind of a tough decision to be like, do I spend all this money, take off work, drive to Augusta, and not even do it?
Yes.
But on the flip side, it was, if I don't go, I won't be in it.
Right.
So I went.
Yeah, no, me too. Same thing. Made the trek up there. So that's how we met and kept in contact. And I think one of my best memories of that weekend was keeping your mom up to date what's going on. Yeah. So your mom found on Facebook, or I think she was like in charge. She in charge of your social media, kind of.
I don't
She's a PR
know.
lady.
Yeah, like a PR lady. Because I'm like, oh, she's like, oh, well, this is Austin's mom. I'm like, hey, mom. And so I'm like, oh, this is what's going on.
Yeah, she does do that sometimes. And I remember us talking in there, and I said something, and then you're like, you had your phone.
Yeah.
So you were able to get in touch with her, which she really appreciated.
Yeah. And I'm a parent.
Yeah.
I know how it is.
Yep. Yeah, because we were supposed to be real secret, and they didn't want us to do anything or see anybody. So.
Well, Alec Honadale was there.
Yeah.
And he got sent home.
Him and I think there was someone else there too. I can't remember, but I remember I saw Alex's truck in the parking lot.
Yeah.
When I pulled in.
Yeah. So you know why you got kicked out? So apparently he was out in his hotel room, and there was like a bird caught in like this plastic or something, or it was a cat or something, and he was watching out his window, and he's like, I can't, he goes, I love animals. So he was out there for like 3 or 4 hours trying to catch this animal to try to get it set free, and he finally did. He got it. He had to go to the store, I don't know, did some stuff, and he got it set free. And then they found out, somebody ratted him out, said he was outside, so they sent him home. Meanwhile,
because we were supposed to be quarantined. I remember it was like 4 days or something, or 3 days.
It was insane, yeah.
That we had to be quarantined in a hotel room, and they brought it like a case of water. It was like, here you go.
Here you go. Here's a case of water and $20.
Yeah, and order in.
Yeah, order in. Yeah, that kind of sucked. Now, meanwhile, when I was on my way up there, I had cracked my radiator on the way up there, pulling out on my friend's shop. So I told him, I was like, listen, I got to work on my car. I walked all freaking around that place. I was downtown, eating downtown. I was eating the Mexican place. I was fixing my car on the driveway.
I walked to the Mexican place.
Yeah, it's right behind there.
Yeah, I know. I didn't stay in there, and I mean that first thing I did, I had to do tires. My battery was dead in the truck and in the car because the alternator went bad on the truck. Mm-hmm. My wheel hub, driving to there, I lost my wheel hub and had to fix the truck on the side of the road. It was a terrible drive there.
Yeah. And in the event, I mean, would you do it again?
I would do it again, but I would do a different car.
I would be more prepared to just trash the car. I was not prepared.
Exactly.
I was like, I don't like fixing my car.
Yeah, and I was going to take the car that he drives because that's my cheap car, cheap parts. It was like not the thing I spent money on. Mm-hmm. And then the harmonic balancer went out, which I didn't know. It was just like as soon as I started it, it was just vibrating real bad. And I was like, I'm afraid to take this and then it die. Mm-hmm. And I get caught, that way. I didn't want to do that, so I took my other car, which I had just bought from someone he knew. Funny enough, he sent me the guy who had this Mustang, but I took it, spent a lot of money on it, and then wrecked. Or I didn't wreck; they wrecked into me.
Yeah,
Which
I know.
is the reason I didn't go. They called me too.
Yeah,
they wanted me to go. And I was talking with them. I was like, yeah. And at the time, my car wasn't caged. They're like, oh, we'll pay to put a cage in it.
They had to put one. They paid to put mine in.
And I was like, okay, like what's the, and they're like, I said, what, like if the guys wreck me, like what's the thing? Like, oh, you're just liable for it.
Yeah.
And at the time, I had just bought my Corvette. I'm like, I'm not going to tear my brand new,
some of those cars
brand new to me car up.
Some of those cars got jacked up.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'll pass. And
don't have the money of the Tesla guy.
Yeah, he was like, it didn't matter. That guy,
he bought a Tesla just to do the show.
Yeah. I mean, maybe one day. But that's how we met, and it was good memory. Right, it's something that I'll never forget.
I know exactly.
Ever forget. But Tim, what about you? When did you get your start in drifting?
So my financial mistake journey started in 2006.
Oh, that's around when I started. Yeah.
Yeah. So some friends of mine and I, we were at Best Buy back when that was a popular place to go.
Best Buy.
And found some DVDs of Initial D.
Can't go wrong there.
It was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
I graduated high school that spring, whatever day it was. The following week, there was a drift event at Turner Field. That was a big thing in our area, in the North Georgia area. And I'm like, man, I really want to try this. My buddy had just bought an S13 Coupe, and I conned him out of it, and I bought the car on a Wednesday and drove it down there on the Saturday, bone stock, and went to my first event.
So how much did you buy the car for?
$1,200. Running, driving, clean title, slick top, 89
Good luck
coupe.
doing that now.
No. The way things are insane right now. Yeah. Everything's insane.
Yeah. So did that and played around in the local grassroots area for a little while, then ventured off and did some SWD Pro-Am stuff for a couple years. Couldn't afford to run with it.
I didn't know you did Pro-Am.
Yeah, I ran with the Brian Phillips and Streetwide Drift.
Yeah, Brian Phillips,
a 2 seasons I did. They had them up at
Charlotte Motor Speedway.
It was
ZMAX. They had
Metrolina Expo Center.
Is that
right next to ZMAX?
Okay,
it was ZMAX.
That's what it's called now. I think it was called Charlotte Motor Speedway back when I did it.
Right, I think you're right.
And then they did PB Palm Beach International Airport, International Raceway.
Yeah, we did that one, and I was like,
VIR. Did you do VIR?
No, I didn't. I missed
heard
that
that's
one.
fast.
Well, so the thing was, I don't know, I guess I was 19, 20, and I had a stock SR, which in our little community was it's about average
baller,
power.
Man. Baller.
Yeah.
And then you go up there, and these people had like stock LS1s and 350 wheel horse SRs. I'm like, I wasn't skilled enough to keep up with those guys.
Yeah. Although an SR turns a pretty penny nowadays. Have you seen what the prices are for them?
Kidding.
Insane.
Yeah, I bought
everything now.
I bought my first SR swap. I went over to the dude's house and listened to it run, drove it down the street and back, and helped him pull it out. I think I paid $1,600. Motor, transmission, Greddy intercooler.
Insane, right?
You know, FM, everything.
Yeah.
SFC, the whole deal.
Yeah.
Like
I had a friend of
$1,600.
mine. He picked up an RB20, which is a solid little motor, a little inline six. Whole front clip for like $1,200 back then.
Oh, yeah.
Insane, and transplanted. So you did the Pro-Am series. Like, what's your plans now? You have any plans to get back into serious competition or what?
No, the grassroots jam stuff is just so much more fun to me.
Mm-hmm.
I help Ben Hobson. You know,
Okay.
he's on the
Yeah.
Pro Spec.
Yeah, Ben's
I'm
a
his
good guy.
spotter.
Oh, okay.
So I get to get my little like competition fix with him.
Did you spot for him at Clutch Kickers?
No, I just started helping him last season.
Oh, okay.
So I spotted for him all 4 rounds last year, and then we did 1 round of Clutch Kickers at Freedom Factory.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to do a couple 50Ks this year and do some of that stuff. So I kind of get my competition fix and use his checkbook.
Makes sense.
You know?
Yeah. Well,
So
you get Catch My Drift. That's in your guys' area, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
See,
it's-
that one's doing a 50K. The first one is Lanier, which is very close. That's like a home track.
It's like 15 minutes from my shop. So I've got 2 or 3 buddies want to run that, and I'm like, I'll go help you guys, and then we'll go do our bi-weekly jam sessions.
Yeah.
Him and I and a couple buddies did Drift Week, and like I just like the fun
Stuff like
jam
this
stuff is so much more
is
fun.
so much more fun.
So that brings up another point, and this is something, I don't know if you watch our show or not, but we ask a lot of the drivers where they see drifting going. And some of the responses we get are exhibition-style competitions, like not like Clutch Kickers, but more like LZ Invitational,
Yeah.
right? Or even Catch My Drift is a series, but not really so much. But then you have this, the competition Clutch Invitational, sponsored by
Right.
Nitto, is what it's called today. But where do you see drifting going? Where do you think drifting needs to go in order to be like in the limelight?
So I think competition is always going to be what people go to win, to watch. It's fun. And I think like CMD's 50K event, they have a 50K event up north somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff that's where people are going to go to because it's low entry cost and they can win money more so than Formula Drift. Formula Drift is just so hard to get into. People are going to do these grassroots that have money.
Right.
These money events is what we call them.
Yeah.
So I think that's the best way for people to do it. If they wanted to grow, they got to have money events.
Oh yeah. 'Cause
Hopefully, though, stuff like this, these fun events.
Invitational kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
This isn't really competition; it's more exhibition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's always going to be both. I mean, there's going to be the people. Like, I'm not a super competitive person
Right.
by nature. Like, I don't like my girlfriend. She gets crazy when we play checkers, right? Like, I don't even. Yeah, she's like, beat you. Okay. Yeah, I'm just like to have fun, and then there are the competitive people. So like, I think there'll always be both. There are always going to be the the money series, and the thing's going to draw those people.
Right.
And then the people like me that just want to come to these invitationals and have fun and drive with people from across the country.
Must be a name thing because I'm like 100% on track with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is so much. Like we do Ford Fest every year. And, Nick runs it, and like it's just so, we make countless laps on used tires left over from our other cars and stuff, and like it's so much more fun. I think for drifting to succeed in the long run, it needs to be affordable and it needs to be obtainable. You need to be able to have these cars, these let's say for instance today, like Ford stuff, like your new Edges and your 197s that you can buy sub $10,000, buy an off-the-shelf angle kit, run a budget tire, and still go out and have a lot of fun and jam with cars that are comparable. And as long as that's obtainable and you could still street that car and you could still insure it and not worry about riding it off on a wall.
Right.
Like as long as that's still a thing, and we're very fortunate. Like we talked about the track in our area, Linear Raceplex. I mean, they have bi-weekly drift events. Like
Yeah, it's like OSW, same thing.
yeah.
And not only just it's just a big. It used to be a circle track that they paved in, right? But it's never the same track, or it used to not be. Now
No, yeah, they're changing it.
they're changing it
Yeah.
up. But Kevin Octane's changing it up a little bit. But
Okay.
when iTrack Motorsports had it, it was never the same track.
Yeah,
so
that was-
when I
yeah.
started drifting, we did one track, then it was different, then it was different. So I was able to hit every kind of turn, bank turns, hairpin turns, sweepers, everything, and I just learned really, really quickly. So now if I go to a road course or any other course, no turns an issue. It was easy to learn,
Right.
and it was good. Instead of like if you go to mid pond, you've got a set turn,
Right.
and you can't change it,
Right.
and you're going to get very good at that.
Right.
But then you go somewhere else with a bank, you've never done it before.
Yeah.
So
That was a big thing about clutch kickers. A lot of people it was like you either loved the bank or you hated the bank.
if you got
Right.
power, you like the bank.
Yeah, well, the thing is so growing up down here or learning how to drift down here and doing the events, coming to OSW for years. I mean, I started back around probably 2008-ish and coming to events, and you realize it just comes down to the driver, really, because, Jeremy Lowe competed at FD, and he's driving here a long time. He would come out here in an open diff, almost bone stock me out and ride the wall.
Yeah.
Right? So it's doable right now. Would it be competitive? No, it would be
Right.
competitive, but it is doable. But absolutely, that bank is a power separator. It's not the equalizer that
Yeah.
Emerald Coast Dragway was. So it's interesting how the Clutch Kicker Series, unfortunately, they're not going to be run this year, maybe next year. But we have events like Joe Gorseski, he's running the Catch My
Yep.
Drift. He's
Right.
filling in that gap for you guys, and I think that's great. And, of course, we have the U.S. Drift Circuit, which is also doing events down here, the licensing series, which is still great events. I don't know if you've been to Sebring. Sebring is probably one of my favorite tracks. It's it's a pretty fast track. There's 2 different sections, so you're literally and they're like half a mile apart, but it's huge. So you can go from one track to the other track. Watch some of the videos. Really fun event. If you get a chance to go down and check out the U.S. Drift Circuit at Sebring, by far one of my favorite tracks I've ever done. But anyways, next thing I want to ask is, how did you guys meet?
It had to be a Lanier.
Yeah. So if I were to guess,
No,
I would think the first Mustang in our little community that actually did well.
So you're saying Austin was your fanboy?
No. He just saw.
No, so he had an angle kit that he built. And I
had to.
think that's
Yeah.
when I met him, is
Right.
because I was like, hey, build me one.
Right.
I drifted with my stock Mustang, and I bought the Mustang. I welded the differential, put a racing seat in it, and went out. So stock angle, I learned how to drift. And then he had the other Mustang there, which was same chassis, and I was like, someone said, or whatever happened, I knew he had an angle kit and he built it. So then I went and talked to him.
Because at the time there was only one company making them, and it was like, and now it was a great company, don't get me wrong, but there was like a 6-month backlog on them.
Right.
And I was like, I want to drift now.
Well, that's the thing.
Unfortunately, they put too much information online. They're like, oh, we extend the control arms this much, and we cut the knuckles this much. I'm like,
Right.
well, I'm a certified welder.
So you just took it off their...
I just took.
I mean, they tell you
That's
exactly.
funny.
So that's the thing, though. But you came from the time, like back when it's like if you didn't have a popular enough car, which was the S13s and S14s, you had to make your own thing.
Yeah.
So I had an E30 back then, and before WiseFab came out, it was cutting the knuckle, cutting.
Right.
You know, what I'm saying, cutting it and making your own angle kit, and you had to do it because you couldn't be competitive with an S13
But
or
see,
S4,
it's
240.
It's good because it's all stock parts, right?
Yeah. I
In a
found
way,
like
yeah.
a good combination of inner and outer tie rods that work really well, off-the-shelf stuff, stock ball joints.
Right.
And so that if we have an issue, if we bump or something, then, we just run up to AutoZone and grab them.
Every part on that car, AutoZone, except for like coilovers or something like that.
Yeah, so we made it where it's like serviceability. No, it has no Hyman joints, no AN lines. Like, it's all stuff that we can just go get and get back on track. Just seat time cars.
Yep.
Our lights coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's how we met, though.
Yeah.
Hey, turn the headlights off. Can you turn the running lights on? Yeah, there you. Yeah, actually, that's good. I think it's a little better.
Get my good side there.
Yeah,
you
get
go.
my good side.
Okay, so you were drifting, and then you saw him drifting the Mustang. You had drifted, so it's just like, hey, man, what are you doing?
Yeah, and I don't know when we started drifting together because iTrack was at Linear at that time, and they started at I think they only had 3, D3, D2, D1. D3
Right.
was novice, and then
And novice,
intermediate,
intermediate,
and then
advanced.
expert or advanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, whichever one it was. So you start D3, and then you move up. And I remember moving up, I think within 2 or 3 events, going up to where I could start tandem, and then at some point we started running together.
Yeah. Well, we had the same, basically similar horsepower within 20. We had similar eBay coilovers. We had the same angle kit.
Yeah.
And I was watching him drive. I was like, well, he's getting really good, and he drives in everyone got their own style, right?
Right.
And his style is very similar to mine. So
Okay.
we start jamming together, and it started mirroring.
Well, you
each
can
other
see
right
it
off the
too
bat.
when you guys are
Right.
going around.
Yeah.
Your car, the newer car, seems a little faster.
It's very,
so when
very
you're
fast.
definitely faster. So
supercharged 3
but when you're
valve.
Yeah.
chasing him, you guys have it's nice flow, nice even flow, and nice smooth transitions. You guys
Right.
are like you're in sync.
Yeah.
So you can see that you guys have been driving for a while.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. I'll go back through photos and videos, and I can't remember which run it was because it looks the same every time we do
run.
it.
That's a good thing, though.
It is good.
Yeah.
It's very consistent. We're
Consistent.
in the same part of the track, and we're close. It's
Yeah,
just.
there was one year at Ford Fest where he was in the car I'm driving now, and I was in my girlfriend's now car, and every lap we were leaving donuts in the exact same spot. Like we'd go,
Okay.
and then we'd swap and go. So like both of our doors were just marked front to rear.
Nice.
Yeah.
And just every lap it was just boom, boom, boom. And it got to the point where Nick was like, "Y'all are the only ones out here. Just start
Yeah,
going."
our cars were the only ones that. I think that was the time where I stripped my stud and I couldn't change my tire, so I just kept going. The rest of the day was just on the same set of tires, and the cars do so good. They didn't overheat. I didn't go through tires, and we just. We were just going. We were
The
just
stars
doing,
aligned,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
everything worked out.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay. So what about you? I mean, you do competitions.
I'm competitive.
So what
I
are
like
your
to
plans?
Win. So I signed up for the 50K down here, the CMD 50K.
Okay.
So we're gonna see how that goes. But you've got Ben Hobson and I think Nick's.
And me spotting for him.
You're going to spot. See, that's messed up.
Oh, that's a conflict of interest.
So, but I'm going to do a little bit of competitions and then always stuff like this. I like events that have spectators, especially when we can do ride-alongs.
Oh, that's the
honestly, if I had to choose one event to do, it would be ride-along events.
Okay.
Something where people come in and pay a little bit of money. It helps us out. We usually charge like $20 to do ride-alongs, depending on the track. If it's a real small track, it's not worth it. But if we do ride-alongs and we give people their first time riding, that would be my go-to.
That is cool. That is
Yeah.
cool.
So
Give
I'm going to
somebody-
do events like this, Ford Fest, the CMD 50K.
Does Fuel Fest come around your area?
Not Fuel Fest, I don't think.
Well, I will tell you because we just did Fuel Fest. Well, we went to Fuel Fest last week.
In West Palm.
15,000 spectators.
Yeah.
Wow.
15,000 spectators. They had a line of like 200 people for the ride-along line.
So where,
Insane.
that's like a 2 hours south, right, from here?
3 hour. Well, yeah, 2 hours. 2 hours south. That's 2 hours south.
That's a 9-hour drive.
Yeah,
no, and that's a lot. But I'm just saying,
We
it's
did one event.
insane.
One of the co-events during the Drift Week deal was they had a LZ Invitational thing
Yeah.
at Englishtown, and there was people that got in my car that first off had never ridden, had never even seen it in person,
Right.
But they had been, like you said, been standing in line for like 2 hours,
Right.
And were tickled to death to just ride with us.
So they were trying to ride with Adam LZ,
Of course,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Adam LZ has a huge line, and we have it. We've done it multiple times now that we have a system, which is good. My family comes in, and basically we set up a booth, and we have tickets, and they pay for a ticket. The ticket goes to the driver.
Right.
Then the driver exchanges that for money afterwards, and then
Yeah.
we have my wife and another buddy was strapping people in. So when they were waiting in line, we were knocking out 10 more people before they would do
Which I
one.
still don't agree with. Somehow I got all the big fellas and he got all the slender ladies. I still don't know exactly how that panned out. But
Yeah, I'm sure she's okay with that.
Yeah, that was funny.
yeah, I'm over here
They
like
were all-
maxing the seatbelts out, getting around them.
stretch it out. Guys
were-
like this.
Oh,
Oh, I
yeah.
can't even see out of the side.
Then I had all the short girls and everything.
That's
Yeah.
funny. That's funny.
I didn't notice that, of course.
Yeah. You're just mentioning it. You didn't have the GoPro on the dash
Yeah,
facing
no,
forward at all.
actually, he never even looked over. Cause
Yeah.
he just,
I had the 360 camera.
That's funny. All right, so you do plan to do competitive events. You're doing the
Look,
Catch
I
My
wanna-
Drift. Do you ever plan on trying to make the step to go pro?
I would like to do Pro-Am. I would like to do it once, right? And I want to do Pro-Am and like win a license, do it the proper
Right.
channel way and at least try it just once. I have always heard negative things about it. It's so expensive to
It
run.
is.
People get burnout on
takes
it.
the fun
Yeah.
out of it.
It
for you.
takes the fun
I did
out
one
of it.
season of SWD, and I didn't even do the full season. I'm like, I'm good.
But I would like to do it once. No, even knowing that, I want to try the competitive scene.
What I'll tell you, though, at least with the SWD, and maybe correct me if you or agree with me, whether you think I'm right or wrong, is what SW did for me, even though I didn't do a full season, it forced me to learn the line fast.
Oh yeah.
And I think
You
one of
have
the
to adapt
wisest,
quickly.
one of the wisest things that I think I heard from one of our interviews when it comes to competition was Officer Dan Brockett. He said, "You got when it comes to pro, you got to be at the level where you link the course on the first run. On the second course, you're getting a feel." He goes, "By the third run, you got to be on
the
the clipping
spots.
points."
Yeah.
So and that forces you, and that's what it was. SWD, you
Absolutely.
got really not much practice. and you're forced to, especially when it ran alongside Formula Drift.
Right.
It was insane. You got 2 laps of practice, and that was it. And then you're qualifying.
You know, they had people like braking on track and wait for them to pull it off.
Oh, yeah, insane.
2 laps and like, okay, you ready to go qualify? Like, what?
Yeah, it's like, are you kidding me? Yeah.
The problem I see with competitions like that is there's a money advantage, right? And if you don't have the money or sponsors to put all this stuff in your car, it hurts you, especially if there is a long straight.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna, like, before you start drifting, you got a drag race. And I saw that at the Freedom Factory. Like, Connor O'Sully has such a fast car off the line.
Ripped up, yeah.
It's if you can't be there with them.
You got to time your roll. That comes down to strategy, right?
Yeah.
And timing your roll.
And like, it gets so stressful because everyone gets so like, oh, I gotta win, right? You know, there's 60 people there, and there's only one winner.
Yep.
And our local, we've talked about in the iTrack guys, like, I'm not a competitive person, I said that.
Right.
But they had they have a series called Excite, and it's basically.
He's not competitive, but how many times did you win it?
I won the championship 2 years in a row.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 years in a row.
Yeah.
But they have a thing where it's like stock motor, no power adders.
Okay.
235 tire limit, and then
Really?
they have an unlimited class, and that's so much fun because if you win $200. Like, but everyone's just like, they're still.
And where was this at?
They run them. They did what? Little Talladega in
Talladega,
Alabama.
yep.
Lanier.
We did. What's the one in Carolina?
Cordele, Carolina Motorsports Park.
Carolina Motorsports Park.
So
it's
that's
kinda like
a
a
pretty
traveling
good. So that's interesting. Like, it's almost like not spec, but kind of like spec class,
Yeah,
right? You 235.
Yeah.
235 limit, 300 tread wear minimum.
Yeah.
No power adders. Except, well, there were some guys running nitrous, which was a gray area in the
Yeah.
first couple of years, but no blowers.
Yeah, but they had like 100 horsepower cars. They were.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like an 86 with a spray.
Yeah, it was
not really powerful.
So it was so much fun because, like, at the end of the day, the most fun was popping the champagne.
Yeah.
And it was all your buddies, and you
Right.
drink more afterwards, and like there was nothing really on the line.
Yeah.
So the competition really, I think, it helped everyone in a fact, like, it gave you that competition experience without all the stress and all the investment. I mean, the first year I was running on just like whatever used tire store stuff. The next year I got a little more serious, but like I was still.
I think that was my first competition series.
Because you won the championship the same year I did.
Yeah.
The second year.
Which now it's not when you win the championship.
2 different classes, obviously.
Yeah, you get the next year free.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah,
it's
that
a
was
lot
the really-
more.
That's a good bonus, yeah.
It's a lot more than the cash you got. You spend $2,000 a year on events, and then now you don't have to do that.
That's cool.
You get a code.
Yeah, it was kind of like the Texas Street Legal-esque thing.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it was so much fun because there wasn't any real money on the line.
Right.
So that was fun. But like you start putting 15K, 20K, like, people get nutty.
Yeah.
Even when I did at Streetwise Drift, like I remember the last comp I did, I hit one of the clipping points. I had these. I don't know why they did this. It was so stupid. They had a 4x4 base for the clipping point, right? So I rolled over with a tire and I broke a coilover. And I was like, oh crap, man! I went around. I was like, hey, does anybody have a coilover? I was like, nope, none here. Nope.
Yeah,
We're gonna help
it's-
you. I'm like,
Wow.
what? Like I can literally see another set in your
You
trailer.
got one right there.
Yeah, they're like, no.
And see, that's funny because everywhere I've been, we've always helped each other, and if anybody needed parts. But see, I haven't been to a
Pro-Am.
real money pro-am,
No,
anything
I mean,
like that.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, most people help, but it's a whole other thing. And now it's getting competition, and they must have saw you as a threat, right?
Oh, of course.
You know, so let me ask you guys something, and you guys can take turns answering this. And maybe this hasn't been something you've gone through, but what would you say is been the toughest moment in your drifting career, I guess you could call it, so far, and how were you able to overcome that? Like, was it an instance where you broke down and you know, it just, you know, sometimes when something happens, your dreams get crushed or whatever it is.
So mine's a real simple one, right?
Okay.
When I started drifting and doing competitions and tandems, I would get worried about certain cars and drivers. I'm like, man, I know he's good, and I know he's fast, and then I would screw up.
Right.
So it was so hard for me to get the mental block out of my head of their cars, of worrying about them, doing their instead of focusing on me. And that was the hardest part of drifting for me, was just the mental side to change my brain around to just do what I need to do instead of worry about them so much.
Yeah, that's hard. What about you, Tim?
So the biggest hurdle would probably be around 2011 or so. We lost our home venue.
Oh.
So the Turner Field place I talked about,
Right,
we drove there for years, and it was. I had been other places. I'd been, some South Carolina stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We went to one in Alabama, but that was the home track, and it was in. If you're not familiar, we're literally in downtown Atlanta.
Oh, you are? Okay.
We can see the Capitol building. We can see the Olympic arches all from this one parking lot, and it was great.
Right.
We had a great organization that was running it there, and Southeast Drift Association. Everyone was really fighting, and really they should have shut it down a year before, but they kept it going.
I remember that going on.
Marcos Ruiz
and
I remember
Howard
that. Smith and those guys, they were doing everything they could.
Yeah.
They kept it open, but when it shut down, I'm like, well, at that point, Louis Garza was running some stuff.
KMS was around back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that was kind of the point where they were getting. That's a whole different subject.
Right.
So I was like, well, I guess I'll just garage the car, So I took probably almost 2 years off, and there started iTrack started coming around and started doing some stuff and some different organizations. And it was kind of funny because the 2 years I took off, there was such an advancement in drifting.
Yes.
I brought my car back. I'm like, this thing's outdated.
Yeah.
I had it was.
Who are all these people?
Yeah.
I don't know anybody.
It had it was a built SR by Sammy at Tiger Racing. He built it, made 350 wheel, but it had rack spacers and stock rear knuckles and
Is that the car you still have?
The red one, yeah.
So you know Sammy really well, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
well,
competed with Sam. Sammy is freaking great, and it was good to see him at Clutch Kickers this last year.
He drives a lot at iTrack.
Yeah,
Does
he drives a lot with us.
So how well do you know Will Couch then? Because isn't
really
Will,
well? Yeah.
Yeah. Will's a good guy.
Everything he knows.
Oh, really? I'll make sure I tell him that.
Man, I battled Will, I think 3 times, and I think he had the same problem I had because every time we battled, I would win because of something he did. It was nothing that I did.
Right.
It was
about consistency.
Took himself out, or I think one time he had a problem with his clutch, but it was it was I saw that every time we battled, and I remember me doing that.
Yeah, that's one thing that we see in drifting, especially in the competitive world. A lot of times, the consistency is what's going to carry you through. You're going to have your guys that set the world on fire for one event, but then the next event they don't even, they qualify way in the back and they don't. But that consistency, so that's good that you guys have that consistency. But now,
first year in that little series I told you about, I won the championship. I never won a round.
I did
really?
all of my. I won 3rd place every single time, and then that got me the most points.
Yeah, I think we did 4 rounds?
Yeah,
4 rounds, and I think I got 2nd twice and 3rd once. And,
points game.
Points, yeah.
It is.
Points
It
game,
is.
yeah.
And I did 3rd place, and I was really getting frustrated. I was like, man, I would like to win something.
You win the whole season.
And I did, and I was like, all right, I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. I know you guys, you got family. Looks like they're probably hungry. You want to get something to eat. And I know this was only supposed to be we can keep going.
No, this was good because we talked about this on the TV show, which I don't even.
That was almost 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
Almost, yeah.
That was a long time, and I remember talking about this, and now this is the first time I've been down to Florida.
Yeah.
So it's good we got together.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I watch you guys through the the Instagrams and the Facebook, and kind of like, oh man, it's cool, and watch you guys progress, and it's cool to see that. And one thing that you got going for you now, both of you guys, because you're driving similar car, is that theme, and I think that's something that needs to be seen more in drifting.
Right.
That theme. Okay, you have the sideways sheriff, you got the lights going on, and we talked about bringing new fans to drifting, and that's what you're doing, right?
Absolutely.
You're bringing new fans into drifting, and of course you got the whole theme, and you could do local events. I'm sure the cops probably love it.
Every single one I've talked to really enjoys it. So
yeah. We got Paso. Like I said, we did the Drift Week deal, right? So he's driving this car that looks like a cop car up through the Northeast.
On the
how
road.
did that work out for you?
I had covers. I have Mom made a cover that goes over the light that says "Not the Popo," and then
Good going, Mom.
Yeah, we got some magnets that go over the side that cover up the star and the part that says sheriff.
So we're just mobbing 6 or 7 deep of all these hammer drift cars that are super loud. And knowing that how strict everything is up there, and there was a couple times the cops would just come up and they would just look over at us and just take off.
Yeah.
Okay, these guys are just a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, every time I drive it on the road, though, and I see a cop, I've had them follow me for a while, and they kind of pull up my tag or do whatever, but they haven't pulled me over, and no one's ever said anything, so.
Yeah,
knock on wood.
Plastic. You're done for now. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is just go ahead, Tim, start with you. Go ahead, give your Instagram, whatever you want to promote, so when we cut this up, we can make sure, or when people watch it, they know where to find you guys?
Yeah, so I've got Instagram at the Best Damn Shop Around. Facebook page, obviously. I got a little YouTube channel. Trying to play with that a little bit.
Which is Best Damn Shop.
Best Damn Shop Around.
There you go.
So check us out.
All right.
Mine's pretty simple. Sideways Sheriff on all platforms, I think, except for Twitter. We've got Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I do have a YouTube, but you know what? YouTube's not so much my style. But then also Last Minute Motorsports. That's our team we have.
We use the word team very loosely.
Well, how many people are in this team?
Like 5?
5, I think.
No, that's not bad.
Yeah, John Otani, Jace Kern.
Us two.
Yeah. And Andrew, if he ever finishes his car.
Yeah, Andrew needs to finish his car. Oh, and then Logan, too. But, you know.
Yeah. Just a bunch of goofballs.
Yeah.
Just having fun.
It's basically just the 4 of us who drive now, mainly, who, you know, wait to the night before to work on their cars.
Yeah. And now we all, like, when I'm in my Corvette and he's in his and our buddy has a Corvette and another Mustang, we all have very similar cars.
Yeah.
And we all try to, as a gentleman's rule, we all try to run about the same tire so that we can just the name of the game, just having fun and making close laps.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's for people to watch, right? You see some people go out here and they take off like they're trying to win, and then you see all of us together because that's what people want to see. You see 4 cars riding together. It's cool.
Yeah.
So
that's the point, right? And that's what Nick brought up in the drivers' meeting. He's like, this is an exhibition. You know, get close to each other. Don't try to leave each other.
Not trying to win practice.
Exactly. Don't try to win practice. That's interesting. Well, hey, I thank you guys for giving me some of your time. I'm glad we finally got to catch up and do this. And I look forward to watching you guys, you know, grow. And hopefully we'll make it up to your neck of the woods next time.
That'd be good.
Yeah, come
good
on.
deal. All right. Sounds like a plan, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if we got Alex. I don't know if Alex left or if he's gone. Or Ben, what do you want to do?
We got to find him, but I don't even know how we're going to accomplish that with the fact that the track is pitch black.
Yeah.
And he's zooming around, surfing all around. I don't even
he's
know.
on the one wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on the one
Yeah,
wheel.
I saw him just a minute ago.
Yeah, I don't know if Diana, you want to try to find him or not, or we could just, because we got to be out of here by 8.
Yeah.
Pack it up. Do you want to
There's
just
some adult beverages calling our names.
Yeah. I don't know. You want to call it a night, or what do you think?
Well, let's make an attempt to get Mr. Schlegel on here, and then we'll go from there.
All right, guys. Well,
so we'll wait a bit.
We're gonna go eat dinner.
Yeah, you go eat dinner. What are you gonna eat?
Cuban, right? There's a Cuban place?
spot, maybe.
I'm not gonna try to say that.
No, that's fast food. That's fast food.
That's fast food.
That's drive-through. Yeah.
Okay.
Well.
There's like an LS Teca thing near us.
Aztec is okay if you could find Chewy's. Chewy's is pretty good.
Chewy's.
Okay. They make like their own tortillas. Chewy's is pretty good. Man, I don't come up this way too often. But yeah, Pollo Tropical is just like, it's fast food. It's just like Wendy's or something like that down here.
Oh, interesting.
But I mean, if you guys are in a hurry, that's a good way. If you want to sit down and eat, there's some really good Mexican restaurants around here. So Chewy's. Oh, Ben, you think of it? I came to my mind on blank. You think of any places to eat around here? No.
I don't come here often, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, us either. We'll find something.
There's a lot of great Puerto Rican restaurants around here. So what I would do is get on Google and whatever you're into, Mexican restaurant near me, and then just do that. But Pollo Tropical, I mean, that's fast food. I mean, if that's what you guys like, but I would tell you, find places to sit.
They all say no.
Find us a Chewy's.
Find Chewy's. Chewy's is good. They make their own stuff there. And then, we have everything else, Buffalo Wild Wings and all that stuff down. But I'm 3 hours down south, so we don't live up here.
Right.
All right.
Cool.
All right, guys. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Tim, it was great meeting you. Look forward to seeing you guys, and have a safe trip home. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll be back here tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be here all day.
Tomorrow.
So hopefully Diana can grab Alex, and then I guess me and Ben will just shoot the breeze for a little bit.
Yeah, while we wait.
Kill some time. All right, guys. Be safe. See you tomorrow. Drive safe. So, Ben, what do you think about the event today?
Well, first off, I don't even know how this is going to look. Wow, this is pretty wild, just the image. But, whatever. We'll just roll with it.
Oh, you're talking about the lighting?
Well, not just the lighting, but just the camera and the quality of it. But, I mean,
we're at the track.
Yeah, it's quite a unique experience, if I do say so myself. But,
yeah.
We see there. Well, I have yet to see Schlegel. So let's quickly go over the event so far and what we've experienced. But one of the things we want to mention is that NMRA is having their 28th year.
This is a 20th annual NMRA event.
Right.
It's the 25th anniversary of the tour. So I'm assuming that they started off, did an event for 3 years, the NMRA event, and then developed a tour 25 years ago. And then this, I'm assuming this is a newer addition, bringing drifting in to the event in the way of a competition clutch drift invitational.
Right.
Did you find him? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's on the way. Perfect.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so we got Alex Schlagel. I don't know, maybe pull the car closer, you think? That'd be better?
I'll have to make some adjustments. I'll figure it out. I'll wait for Alex to get over here, and then I'll see what I need to do.
Do you want me to move over one? Would that be better? No?
No.
Okay.
Just wait a moment.
Yeah,
But,
so please bear with us.
yeah, please. But I do want to mention that it's been great to see all of these stallions, if you want to call it, come on now.
All Mustangs except for one. Daniel Hoy is the only non-Mustang.
Yeah, and one of the things we mentioned is he's like the black swan, the ugly duckling of the event
There
so far. But it's just great to see
Come
all
on,
of the
sit down.
different vehicles.
Yep, sorry to cut you off. All right. Yeah, we're already live, so
Thank you. Hey, guys.
just go ahead and throw a helmet.
Yeah.
The mic
Headset.
with the headset on.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, but today's event was like tons of seat time for everybody. So it's great to see everybody just get tons of seat time. So anyhow, not to cut you off, Ben, but we got Alex Schlagel here. Alex, I've known you for,
Decade or more.
oh yeah, easily.
Almost
Easily.
1.5 decades.
Yeah, known each other for quite a while, and think we first met at a KMS event.
Yes, 2012. So it has been about 10 years.
Yeah. Well, she was. That's crazy. So, Alex, go ahead and tell everybody who you are and what you drive.
My name's Alex Schlagel. I drift this camera.
Yeah, there you go.
I drift a 240SX convertible with a pro-charged LS engine. I've competed in Formula Drift for a couple seasons now, and I'm looking to return this season, and I'm really excited.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a new title sponsor we're announcing soon, so
Good.
I can't wait to show you guys the new livery.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I actually got a peek of it, and we're not allowed to share, but I got it locked in. Definitely a different look. So, Alex, what got you started in the drifting? It's a simple question, very generic question,
Sure.
but what got you started in the drifting?
When I was 16, my friend showed me these videos of people drifting in Japan. The videos, I believe, were called Driftworks.
Okay.
And it was to music, and it's just like random footage
Right.
to techno. And I just thought it looked like fun. So I had a rear-wheel drive car, Firebird.
Firebird, really?
Firebird
that was your
V6.
first- Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
was very lucky. Yeah. So I would try sliding around in that car. It was rear-wheel drive, very limited steering angle, as you probably know.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was like a real motorsport. I didn't know that there was such a thing even at the time as Formula Drift.
Okay.
But I started playing games like Forza Motorsport and Grid.
Okay, right.
On
Yeah.
Xbox 360. I had the steering wheel controller,
Mm-hmm.
and I got really good at those games and drifting in them. And I was kind of obsessed. And I thought, if I could get good at a video game like this, why couldn't I do this in real life?
Mm-hmm.
So I took my first financial aid check and bought my first 240 for $1,000. $1,000
Financial
car.
aid check. Oh, wait.
Yeah, thanks
Books,
Santa Fe College,
car.
Sally Mae.
That's funny.
It was my first event. It was at Gainesville Raceway in 2009, and I was
Oh.
actually working there. And everyone there thought I was crazy. I was obsessed with drifting, and they're like, "Oh, drifting's a fad," and whatever. But I was just excited that it came to my home track,
Right.
and I got to do my first event there. And then I was obsessed after that. I had to find seat time anywhere I could,
Right.
so I'd go down to Bronton Speedway and tell them about drifting and be like, "Hey, can I come drift here?" And they'd be like, "Oh, I guess, sure."
Yeah, because I didn't know what it was.
They didn't know what it was. So, we started to see events at CFRC and DeSoto, now Freedom Factory.
Right.
And then it just started growing. And, I never stopped being obsessed. So,
Yeah. Good deal. Good deal. At what point did you decide you wanted to take it a little more serious and get competitive?
I'd always wanted to do the V8 swap. That was always like the cool thing. Mike Speed was the first dude to make it cool.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, man, I want to do that. I want a V8 240. And I saw Formula Drift was growing, and I had dreams of it. I went to Road Atlanta for my first FD event, and my mind was blown. I was like, oh my God, I need to do this.
Right.
This is it. This is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
So I, committed to basically preparing a car for Formula or for Pro-Am basically, and it started for Grid Life.
Oh, okay.
They told me, hey, if you can make your car look cool for Grid Life, you're
Right.
in.
Okay.
My opportunity to shred Road Atlanta.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, max out the
Yeah,
credit card.
done.
Let's go. So I, got it done just the day, the night before we finished the livery. It was crazy. And I cried when I first drove Road Atlanta. I couldn't believe I was really there.
And that's when it was the American flag graphic? Or
When it was red.
When it was red,
with
yeah.
the silver
yeah,
and black.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And so after that, I finally eventually blew up the LS one that I had that was making 350. So I essentially financed an LS2 with KSR, a good friend of mine, Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
He took good care of me and basically warrantied the engine. My friend Tommy built it, and it lasted 5 years. It blew up at Irwindale after it was supercharged for half of its life on 10 PSI. So it was a stout engine.
Right.
But with that engine, I went to do Pro-Am. I basically crewed for myself. I ended up, winning the round in Georgia, which was double points round. That put me in a huge lead in the championship.
Right.
And then I drove up to Ohio by myself, slept in my trailer, changed my tires between battles, and I ended up winning the championship by 1 point.
Wow. Okay.
And so I earned my Pro 2 license, but I really had no clue how on earth I would ever get a chance to run FD. I did not have the budget. Thankfully, Drift HQ reached out to me and offered me a partnership, a title partnership to basically take care of almost everything for me.
Really? Okay.
So that was huge. So I got to go out and compete in 2019.
And that's when the car changed to green.
That's when it was painted green. Supercharged, rear radiator, fuel cell, completely different animal. And that was when Pro 2 only had top 16. So we had like 30 plus cars battling for 16 spots.
Yeah, it's rough.
And every round I went out there and gave it my all. I didn't get much practice. And I felt like my scores were judged kind of harshly. Okay. But that's drifting. It's subjective.
Yeah.
So at no point during that first season did I actually qualify. In fact, the last round I missed it by 1 point.
Wow.
Which was heartbreaking. But, the next year we had the pandemic. I ended up doing clutch kickers and almost won a round. I got fourth. That was cool. Yeah. And then I returned to FD for 2021. Okay. And I did qualify at every round then. We had top 32, thankfully. And I had much better results. Okay. So I was finally getting comfortable competing at that level. Right. But at the end of that last season, my sponsorship with Drift HQ ended, and I blew up the engine at Irwindale right before top 32 battles in practice. At the top of the bank, pow, that was it. Wow. Okay. So since then, I got married. We bought a house. I've been focusing on my real estate career. Okay. And now, I'm planning my comeback. I've been working on my comeback. Yeah. So it's all in the works now.
Okay. So let me ask you something. We got reached out by 717. Yep. And
that's actually who I'm here with right now.
Oh yeah. Oh, good deal. So tell me about them. Like, how did you get linked up with them?
It's kind of a cool story. I met him. I'm trying to remember exactly how I met him. I think it was at Catch My Drift. Okay. If I'm not mistaken. But we were instantly friends. Like, it's just one of those people you just click with, and, like, instantly knew, like, we were going to be buds. And, right. We get along really well, and we have so much fun creating content together. Okay. And, he's been super supportive and helpful, and we've created already a ton of great content together. So, right. We're out here this weekend having a blast. Yeah. Yeah. So you can't, I talked to you earlier, and one of the things you said to me, you're like, dude, I'm cloud 9 because you haven't been around. You haven't been to a drift event. No. And it's usually torture for me to come out to these things and spectate. Yeah. But, it's good to be back. Like, and people are like, get in my car. And I'm like, yeah. They're like, drive my car. I'm like, yeah. Even better. Yeah. So, I'm having a blast. And just seeing the cars driving and the smoke and the sounds, it does it for me. Like, I was at an event at the firm last weekend watching road racing. Okay. And it just doesn't do it for me. Yeah, but that's something you have to drive. And it's still, like, even then, it's not drifting. Right. Rally's not drifting. No. Drag racing's not drifting. Drifting is my truest passion. And it becomes more and more clear when I come to these events. Right. It just reminds me, like, my soul feels full again when it recharges me. Well, hopefully that causes you to come out, because a lot of people do know you. Yeah. So you're not really coming out as a regular spectator. That's true. I guess. And I understand where you're from, because it's a tease. I'd rather be, instead of commentating on stuff, I'd much rather be in line driving. Absolutely. But there'll be a time for that. Right now, what I enjoy is
it's like almost I got to the point where I'll take whatever I can get. And if coming here to do commentating or announcing allows me to see you guys, because I don't ever you got family, we got stuff we do on the side. It's like the only time I ever get to see the people that I enjoy hanging out with is when me and Ben get together at my house every week, and my brother, or when I'm at these events.
Exactly.
It really is the only time I get to see my friends, you know. Otherwise, I'm working on the car, or doing family stuff.
Exactly.
And that's what we do. So let me ask you something. And I'm like kind of like asking everybody this, and
Sure.
again, it's kind of like, you know, a typical question, but drifting has evolved since we started, right?
Oh my
Has
God.
changed a lot, not only in just the level of vehicles, how quickly people seem to progress by using sim rigs and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
But where do you see drifting going, or where do you feel drifting needs to go to get to the next level by building a fan base? Like some people talk about monster trucks. They went from racing monster truck to now it's more of a show.
You know, this sounds probably crazy, but I think a lot of people are starting to realize that there may be some kind of spec chassis eventually coming, kind of like,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
NASCAR, where, you know, it's not like a Nissan or a Toyota. It's just this is the specs,
Right.
build this chassis, these are the components you get,
Right.
and they're all the same pretty much.
Mhm.
And that way there's no real mechanical advantage. It's fully
Driver
focused
versus
on
driver.
driver versus driver.
Okay.
You know, that would be expensive most likely.
Right. But it'd
But-
have to be its own sponsored series.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like that could be the next progression.
Okay.
I really don't know. But probably the cool part about drifting is, one of the cool parts is that, you know, it's semi-attainable because it's normal cars for the most part. Like,
Right.
I was just drifting Miles' car. We come off the track and turn on the AC.
Right.
It was excellent. Like,
Yeah.
oh my, you
Yeah.
know, like,
Yeah.
that was it. You know, I'm like, oh, man, this is cool. Like, you can drive the car home, you know,
Right.
if you want to.
And it
But-
rips.
And it rips. Yeah, it's a fantastic car. You know, my pro car, it's tagged and insured, but like I wouldn't want to drive it home. You know, it has a fuel cell and
Right.
straight cut
Yeah,
gears. It's
yeah.
obnoxious. But you know, it's relevant to a lot of people because there's these cars that people like that are competing and engines that they like.
Right.
And there's such a variety of stuff. So that is one of the draws of drifting.
Okay.
So I'm not quite sure if a spec series would appeal to spectators as much. I don't really know. But I feel like that would heavily balance competition.
Okay. Yeah.
And, you know, I think that drifting is growing a lot.
Unbelievable.
The amount of following and the
Insane.
attention it gets. It's supposedly the most engaged by social media motorsport in the
Really?
country, according to Formula Drift's you know, deck that we use.
Right.
You know, there's millions of people worldwide tuning into these events,
Yeah.
so it's growing crazy.
Yeah. No, we see it out here with just what Tommy has been able to do with OSW, providing those consistent events. Back when we were starting, it would have oversaturated and killed the scene.
absolutely.
And I think at one point they had that problem, like
I
nobody was
remember.
showing up. But now it's at the point where I mean, they do private days. I think it's months booked out with a private day. Like,
Always.
it's insane.
Constant, yeah.
It's insane, which is great. And it's good to see that scene growing, especially in Orlando and Florida. I think the drift scene in Florida in the last 2 years has evolved into tremendous with Adam LZ and the other guy, freaking I can't think of his name.
Taylor Ray?
Taylor Ray, you know, coming down here with their following.
Yeah.
And it's created an awareness of the sport that has bridged that gap, I mean, between other motorsports, such like this event, right? You got people that probably would never come to a drift event. They're going to be here tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Come see events, and that's exciting. Let me ask you this. In your drifting career, what would you say was the most difficult obstacle you had to overcome, and how did you overcome it?
Most difficult obstacle.
Or situation, like a time where you felt like you were beat down and overcame it? You've had a lot of moments, I guess.
Yeah, there's
So
a
it's like-
lot, man.
yeah.
I mean, I just there's so many, and you kind of get used to feeling these obstacles in front of you and knowing like, well, I've gotten through all these other ones, I can get through this one too.
Right.
And you
Okay.
tell yourself that, and it gives you a sense of empowerment.
Okay.
And you're able to push through and figure it out. You know,
Okay.
there's always obstacles in life, and not just drifting. You know, the point is that you never give up.
Yeah.
You have to keep that focus even when you're tired, even when you're worried, even when you feel low. You keep trying, keep pushing. no matter what the cost.
Okay. So I guess that kind of answers my next question, which was going to be, what advice would you give somebody that's striving to compete, be competitive on a pro level?
Stay obsessed.
Stay obsessed?
Always. Never stop.
Okay.
I mean, you can take breaks. You know, you can step back for a little while, and that's okay. But if you're truly obsessed, success will eventually come.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we see a lot of success stories out there. I know we're kind of running a limited on time, but before you go, are you doing YouTube or are you doing anything as far as promotion for your program?
Absolutely. So I do YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and I even made my own website.
Okay.
It's alexschlagel.com.
Simple.
And it kind of covers like who I am. So
Okay.
I'm not just a pro drifter. I'm also a Florida realtor.
Right.
I'm a gamer.
Right.
I'm a cat daddy. I have 4 cats.
Oh, I was like, what is Cat Daddy? Is that like a dance? Is that like a dance?
Yeah, 4 of them.
Meow. Meow, 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 meow.
Believe it or not, well, also, I besides gaming, I'm also into like one-wheeling, crazy carts, all these other fun things. But interestingly, I've got feedback on Facebook about my website, and everyone wanted more stuff with the cats. They were like, we need more cat content. So I had to make a special page just for the cats.
You should probably make a YouTube channel just around cats, and that'll fund your program.
I should send my deck to like some cat.
Only
cats.
Only cats. That's what you should do. Get live feed cameras that people can tap in anytime.
And
that just watch your
just hanging
cats.
out. Watch them throw up in the living room.
I'm telling you, people. I just gave you an idea. You're funny. You're gonna have a rig.
FD is funded.
FD is funded. You're gonna have a pay crew. RTR ain't getting nothing on Alex Schlagel with his cat.
We have the unlimited budget this season, boys.
Holy cats, that's funny.
Yes.
All right, Alex. Well, I want to thank you for coming.
My
I wish we had a little more
pleasure,
time. Maybe
brother.
we'll
My
probably have
pleasure.
you back on again when we're back in my
Yeah.
garage or something like that. But
I
at least
love
we got
that.
to catch up today.
Yeah, I'm
No
glad.
surprise. I was not expecting to see you today.
It was a surprise to me too, man. This is very improvised. So.
Yes. Hey, it's fun. That's what we like to do. All right. I guess we're signing off, Ben?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sounds like a
Awesome.
plan. Thanks, guys, for watching.
Thank you, guys.
And come back here tomorrow.
Tomorrow's going to be
OSW.
awesome.
It's Von Kitten Jr. is going to be out here.
Denofa.
Chelsea Denofa is going to be out here. They're supposed to have a monster truck out here.
Kelsey's coming.
Kelsey's coming.
Yeah.
Oh, we're wondering about Kelsey
Yeah,
because she has that Coyote powered. So it's going to be exciting. Tomorrow's the day you need to be at OSW. NMRA. Shout out to Nick Swan and Holly Performance for just bringing us out here. And, of course, it is the
mosquitoes.
Competition Clutch
Yeah, that's wild.
Drift Invitational brought to you by Nitto Tires. Thank you, guys. See you soon.